Welcome to the Senior Health video. This video will talk about 9 silent stroke warnings you must not ignore this week. Have you ever wondered why your body sometimes sends strange signals that you brush off as aging or stress, yet something inside you keeps whispering that it might be more serious? This quiet doubt is familiar to many people, especially when a weird headache or sudden weakness shows up out of nowhere, and it often fades before you can make sense of it. But what if these small moments are not random at all? What if they are your brain trying to warn you long before real danger strikes? Every year, strokes take the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans. Yet many of these tragedies could have been prevented if the early clues had been recognized in time, which is why understanding these hidden warnings matters more than you may realize. As you follow this journey, you will discover that your body is far more communicative than you think, and it often begins signaling trouble weeks before a stroke occurs. These warnings are not vague ideas or distant theories. They are backed by credible medical research from respected institutions across the United States, revealing that a large percentage of stroke survivors experience clear symptoms long before their emergency began, which means you may have more control than you ever imagined. With that in mind, this video will guide you through the most important early signs your brain uses to call for help, and each sign will connect smoothly to the next so you can understand the full picture of what is happening inside your body. Instead of feeling lost or overwhelmed, you will gain a sense of clarity and confidence as every explanation brings you closer to recognizing what truly matters. Most importantly, you will learn what these signs look like in real life, why they appear, and how quickly you should react when you notice them. Stay with this message because your awareness today may protect your life tomorrow, and every moment you spend understanding these clues is a step towards safety and strength. Number 1. Sentinel headache. When this type of headache appears, it does not feel like the mild pressure you get from stress or dehydration. Instead, you may sense a sharp and persistent ache that feels entirely unfamiliar. This pain is unique in its intensity, and as it refuses to fade, you begin to realize that your brain may be signaling a deeper issue. Because blood flow to sensitive regions of the brain can become disrupted long before a major stroke occurs. This unusual pain becomes one of the earliest clues your body uses to call for help. This is why you should never overlook a headache that feels new or strangely powerful, especially when it lasts for hours or continues into the next day. As you pay attention to this sensation, you may notice pressure behind one eye or a throbbing pulse that grows stronger when you bend forward or move quickly. These patterns matter more than most people realize, and studies in the United States confirm that a meaningful percentage of stroke survivors reported an unfamiliar headache in the week before their emergency. This makes early recognition essential because urgent evaluation can reduce your risk and protect your brain from further damage. Your best response is to monitor the timing, the duration, and the intensity, and to seek medical guidance when something feels off, since timely action can make a life-saving difference. One man from Arizona described a headache so strange that he assumed it was fatigue until his speech became slightly unclear the next morning. But knowing this alone is not enough, because there is another warning sign that is even more dangerous, and it appears in a way that often tricks people into thinking everything is fine. Number 2, transient ischemic attack. A transient ischemic attack feels harmless at first because it often arrives quickly and fades just as fast. You may notice your face droop for a moment, or your arms suddenly weaken, or your words slip out in a way that feels strange. Then everything clears, and you tell yourself it was nothing. This is exactly why this warning sign is so dangerous, because the temporary nature of the symptoms convinces you that the problem has passed. In reality, your brain just gave you one of the clearest messages that blood flow has already been interrupted. A TIA is not a random episode. It is a brief stroke that stops only because the blockage moves or dissolves on its own. When this occurs, the risk becomes very real because medical research in the United States shows that a large number of people who suffer a major ischemic stroke experienced a TIA in the days before their emergency. This means a TIA is your most urgent chance to act, and misunderstanding it can lead to life-changing consequences. If you notice sudden weakness, numbness, blurred vision, or slurred speech, even if the symptoms vanish within minutes, you should seek medical care right away because early treatment can prevent a far more severe event. A man from Florida felt his right hand go numb for 5 minutes while unlocking his front door, and he dismissed it as stress until a stroke arrived 2 days later. But knowing this still is not enough because the next warning sign shows up in a quieter way, and many people ignore it until it grows impossible to overlook. Number 3. Dizziness and balance problems. When dizziness becomes more than a brief moment you feel when standing up too quickly, it deserves your full attention. You may notice the room tilt slightly, or your steps feel less steady, or your body drift to one side without warning. These episodes are not just everyday lightheadedness. They can be early signs that parts of your brain responsible for balance and coordination are not receiving enough blood. As this disruption grows more frequent, it turns into a direct message from your nervous system that something deeper is unfolding. This is why recurring dizziness, especially when paired with nausea or sudden imbalance, should never be ignored, because it reflects changes that often develop in the weeks before a stroke. Medical research in the United States shows that balance centers in the brain are extremely sensitive to reduced blood flow, which means they often malfunction before other symptoms appear. This connection explains why dizziness can be one of the earliest clues, and recognizing it early gives you a chance to intervene before the situation becomes critical. If you experience repeated episodes, you should pay close attention to the timing and whether the dizziness shows up when you turn your head, walk across a room, or try to focus your vision. Simple awareness and early evaluation can reduce your risk dramatically, and seeking help when these symptoms persist may protect your brain from further decline. A woman in Colorado felt unsteady each time she stepped out of bed, but brushed it off as poor sleep until she collapsed in her kitchen several days later. But even understanding this warning sign is not enough, because another signal targets your vision directly, and it reveals danger in a way that is even harder to ignore. Number 4, visual disturbances. When your vision shifts unexpectedly, it can feel confusing at first because you may believe you are simply tired or that your eyes are adjusting to lighting. Yet when the world becomes blurry without warning, or when objects appear doubled, or when part of your visual field seems to fade, these are not ordinary moments. These visual disruptions can be early signs that blood flow to the visual processing centers of your brain is being compromised. And this loss of clarity represents a deeper issue that demands serious attention. As these episodes come and go, they create a pattern that many people misinterpret as eye strain, when in reality they are subtle but powerful warnings of neurological trouble. Doctors in the United States have identified that the occipital region of the brain, which manages sight, is extremely sensitive to reduced circulation, which explains why your eyes can be the first area to signal danger. This connection makes vision changes one of the most overlooked yet crucial early clues, and recognizing them early may protect you from irreversible damage. If you notice persistent blurriness, fading patches, flashes of light, or difficulty focusing, especially while reading, driving, or turning your head, you should treat these moments seriously. A timely evaluation can reveal whether these changes are due to vascular problems, and acting quickly may prevent the progression toward a major event. A man in North Carolina described reading his morning newspaper when half the words suddenly faded, then returned after a minute, and he blamed his glasses until a doctor later explained it was a warning. But even understanding these visual clues is still not enough, because the next symptom affects your ability to speak, and it reveals danger in a way that is far more alarming. Number 5, speech difficulties. When your speech begins to slip even for a moment, it is one of the clearest messages your brain can send. You may try to speak and the words come out slow or uneven, or you notice your tongue feels heavy or uncoordinated. You might hear yourself say something that does not sound like you, and you wonder why this is happening. This change in your ability to speak is never random, because the areas of the brain that control language are extremely sensitive to reduced blood flow. When these regions are under stress, they begin to misfire, and your speech becomes one of the earliest and most reliable indicators that something is wrong. Doctors across the United States report that many people who later experience a stroke had moments of slurred speech confusion or difficulty finding the right words in the days or weeks before their emergency. This makes speech problems one of the most critical clues you cannot overlook, and recognizing them early may be the difference between quick treatment and permanent damage. If you find yourself suddenly struggling to form words, or if someone around you notices you speaking in a way that is not normal for you, Take these moments seriously. Seeking medical evaluation quickly gives you the chance to address blood flow problems early, and timely action can protect your brain before the situation becomes severe. A woman in Texas tried to order her morning coffee and found herself unable to finish a simple sentence, and she blamed it on fatigue until a minor stroke appeared the next afternoon. But understanding this warning still is not enough, because the next sign involves weakness in specific parts of your body, and it shows danger in a way that becomes even harder to ignore. Number 6, weakness or numbness. When one side of your body suddenly feels weaker, heavier, or less responsive, it is a sign you must never ignore. You may reach for a cup and notice your grip fade, or you may walk up a step and feel one leg struggle while the other feels normal. You might even notice a strange numbness spreading across one side of your face or arm. These changes are not simple aches or awkward movements. They reflect a disruption in the motor and sensory pathways of your brain. When blood flow is interrupted in these regions, signals begin to misfire, and your body reveals this imbalance with weakness or numbness that often appears days or weeks before a major event. Neurologists in the United States consistently report that unilateral weakness is one of the most important early indicators of stroke risk. This pattern is especially dangerous because it often starts small, and many people attribute it to sleeping wrong, aging, or minor injuries. Yet when the same side of your body continues to feel weak, numb, or uncoordinated, these repeated signals become urgent warnings. If you notice this pattern, you should act quickly by observing how long the weakness lasts and whether it returns during simple tasks. Early medical evaluation can reveal reduced blood flow before permanent damage occurs, and timely care may prevent a full stroke from happening. A man in Virginia noticed his left hand drop his car keys twice in one morning, and he laughed it off until he felt numbness spreading across the same side later that night. But even recognizing this sign is not enough, because the next warning appears in a more subtle yet exhausting way, and it can mislead you into thinking you are just tired. Number 7, persistent fatigue. When exhaustion begins to feel heavier than anything you would expect from your daily routine, it becomes more than simple tiredness. You may wake up feeling drained even after a full night of rest, or you may notice that ordinary tasks like walking to the kitchen or carrying groceries suddenly feel more demanding. This extreme fatigue is not the normal wear and tear of life. It is a sign that your brain may be struggling to receive enough oxygen and energy. As blood flow becomes disrupted, your brain shifts into a conservation mode, and you begin to feel a level of exhaustion that does not match your activity, which is why this symptom often appears weeks before a major stroke. Doctors across the United States have noted that many stroke survivors reported unexplained and persistent fatigue in the days leading up to their episode. This connection makes chronic exhaustion one of the most overlooked early warnings, because people usually blame it on age, stress, sleep, or weather changes. Yet when your energy remains low, no matter how much you rest, your body is telling you something important. If you experience this heavy fatigue, you should pay attention to how long it lasts and whether it is accompanied by brain fog, trouble focusing, or mild confusion. Early recognition gives you the chance to address reduced blood flow before it leads to more serious symptoms. And speaking with a medical professional can help uncover underlying issues that need fast attention. A woman in California felt so drained she needed to rest after folding laundry, and she dismissed it until she later learned her brain had been struggling for days. But noticing this alone is still not enough, because the next warning sign affects your hearing in a sudden and alarming way, and it often appears without any explanation at all. Number 8, sudden hearing loss. When you wake up and notice that one ear suddenly sounds muffled or silent, it may feel confusing at first because you try to blame allergies, earwax, or maybe the way you slept. Yet when the hearing in one ear drops without warning, or when sounds become distorted or distant, these moments should never be dismissed. Sudden hearing loss, especially in one ear, can be an early sign that blood flow to the inner ear and nearby brain structures is being disrupted. And this disruption often appears in the days or weeks before a stroke. Because the inner ear relies on delicate blood vessels, even a slight reduction in circulation can trigger rapid loss of hearing that feels frighteningly out of place. This is why sudden sensory changes in hearing are far more important than most people realize, and especially when they occur with dizziness, imbalance, or nausea. Medical specialists in the United States have found a strong connection between sudden hearing loss and future ischemic events, particularly in the posterior circulation of the brain. This link makes early recognition essential because many people mistake this symptom for a simple ear problem and delay care during the most critical window of time. If you experience sudden hearing loss, you should pay attention to how quickly the change appears, whether it involves ringing fullness or one-sided deafness, and whether it improves or worsens throughout the day. Seeking immediate evaluation can reveal whether your hearing loss is connected to reduced blood flow, and fast treatment can protect both your hearing and your brain. A man in Michigan noticed his left ear go silent after getting out of bed, and he ignored it until severe dizziness struck later the same afternoon. But even this warning does not tell the whole story, because the next sign brings together multiple strange sensations at once, and it can reveal even deeper neurological danger. Number 9, atypical neurological. When your brain begins to struggle, it often sends out signals that seem unrelated, which is why many people ignore them. You may feel sudden confusion even in a familiar place, or you might find yourself unable to process simple instructions that normally make perfect sense. You may experience nausea or vomiting that has no clear cause, or even brief moments when you feel as if you might faint. These symptoms do not follow the usual pattern of everyday discomfort, and when they appear in clusters, they can be powerful warnings that your brain is not receiving enough blood. As these episodes repeat, they form a pattern that reflects deeper neurological stress, and your body begins revealing danger through multiple systems at once, which makes this sign especially important. Doctors throughout the United States have observed that unusual combinations of symptoms appear in many patients before a stroke. This connection shows that your brain can become unstable long before the emergency, and recognizing these changes early may protect you from severe damage. If you notice sudden confusion, unexplained nausea, temporary loss of awareness, or strange tingling in different parts of your body, you should treat these moments seriously. Early medical attention can detect reduced blood flow and prevent these episodes from evolving into a life-changing event, especially when symptoms appear more than once. A woman in Georgia felt a sudden wave of confusion, followed by brief nausea, and she dismissed it until she later learned her brain had been signaling distress for days. But knowing this still is not enough, because the way these early signs connect to your overall risk reveals something even more urgent, and you need to hear it next. As you reach this moment, you now understand how these early signs connect to one another, and why recognizing them can change everything for you and your loved ones. Each warning your body sends is a chance to act early and protect your brain long before an emergency begins. These 9 signs work together like a quiet conversation between your brain and your awareness. And when you listen closely, you give yourself the power to stay safe, strong, and prepared. This knowledge is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to guide you toward confidence and clarity, because early action saves lives. If you have noticed any of these symptoms, even once, you do not need to panic. You need a plan. Speak with your doctor. Stay hydrated, watch your blood pressure stay active, and pay attention to sudden changes in your body. Small steps create big protection, and you can start today. What matters most is that you now have the understanding to make better choices and protect the people you care about. There is always hope, because your brain gives you warnings for a reason, and acting early is one of the safest and most effective forms of prevention. In our next video, you will learn the essential foods that support healthy blood flow and protect your heart and brain as you age, along with simple, senior-friendly habits that make your mornings safer and your energy stronger. These tips are designed to help you build a healthier lifestyle, one easy choice at a time. Before you go, save this video so you can return to these signs whenever you need a reminder. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest medical insights and senior health tips created to keep you informed and protected. Your well-being matters, and we are here to support you every step of the way. Stay aware, stay hopeful, and remember that taking action today can change your tomorrow.